Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise tonight during the last week of the month of Ramadan, a holy time for Muslims the world over. I wish to recognise an important date that occurred over the weekend, March 15th, the International Day for Combating Islamophobia. March 15th marks the tragic anniversary of the Christchurch mosque attacks in New Zealand in 2019, where 51 innocent people lost their lives. As the then Prime Minister of New Zealand reflected, that quiet Friday afternoon has become our darkest of days, but for the families it was more than that. It was the day that the simple act of prayer, of practising their Muslim faith and religion, led to the loss of their loved ones' lives. Those loved ones were brothers, daughters, fathers and children. They were New Zealanders, they are us, and because they are us, we as a nation mourn them. For many around the world, March 15, 2019 was a horrifying wake-up call to our collective inaction against Islamophobia. As a Jewish woman, I know all too well the devastating impact of hatred and prejudice. My community has faced centuries of persecution, discrimination and violence simply because of our faith and identity. The pain of targeted violence, of being dehumanised for our beliefs, resonates deeply with me. This shared experience of marginalisation binds us together in our duty to combat all forms of hate, including Islamophobia. Islamophobia, like anti-Semitism, is a form of racism. It targets Muslims or those perceived to be connected to Islam with prejudice and discrimination. It takes many forms, from overt acts of violence to subtle exclusion and harassment. It seeks to silence, marginalise and deny Muslims their rights, opportunities and freedom to live without fear. In Australia, Islamophobia is an ugly reality that has shaped the experiences of many Muslim and Arab Australians. This prejudice has enabled racial profiling, harassment and exclusion from public life, discrimination that tears at the fabric of our society. Since October 7th, 2023, this prejudice has only intensified. The rise in harassment and attacks on Muslims in Australia has been well documented, including in a report by Monash University sociologist Dr. Susan Carland. This is totally unacceptable and must be challenged. Those who blame all members of a faith for the actions of a few promote hate and violence. So what does it mean to combat Islamophobia? Combating Islamophobia, like efforts to combat all forms of racial and religious discrimination, is not the responsibility of those who experience it alone. It's a collective duty. We must call out prejudice when we see it. We must listen to and support those who've been targeted. And more importantly, we must actively work to make our society safer, more inclusive and more welcoming for everyone. And this duty begins wherever we are. So for us, it begins here in this House through the words we use and the policies we support. As representatives of our community, we must lead with integrity and compassion, including here in this Parliament. We must all commit to doing better. This is not optional, it's our responsibility. In our communities, allowing Islamic and racist language to go unchecked emboldens prejudice and hate. And we cannot protect our communities if we fail to hold ourselves and others accountable for the words we use. This is a responsibility for all of society, and it includes friends, families, colleagues, members of this House and the media. Combating hate, though, is not just about opposition, it's also about celebration. We must celebrate and elevate the rich history of the contribution of Muslim communities in the Northern Territory and beyond. Muslims have been part of the Northern Territory's history for centuries. Over 300 years ago, Makassar traders from Sulawesi travelled to the Arnhem Land coast. They traded with Aboriginal communities, and this respectful and mutually beneficial relationship with Aboriginal people is a very early example in our country of cross-cultural exchange, one built on trust and cooperation. Since the 1860s, Afghan Cameleers and their descendants have practiced their Muslim faith in Central Australia. Reflecting on this long history strengthens my commitment to inclusivity in the Territory today. We all know that the Northern Territory thrives because of its diversity. It's what draws people here, and it's what makes people stay. Our vibrant culture, the art, the music, the comedy, the food, and the sense of community. Many of our Territorians, including the original inhabitants of this country, place high value on this cultural, linguistic, and religious diversity. I often hear people say, it's not like other places in Australia here. We all live together. To truly live together well, we must care for one another, not only in hard times, but when times are good. We must work to ensure that everyone in the Northern Territory feels safe, welcome and valued. Madam Speaker, I commit to combating Islamophobia in both my work and my life, just as I commit to fighting all forms of discrimination. Hatred in any form threatens us all. To conclude, and on this solemn anniversary, my thoughts are with the families of the Christchurch victims. May they be cared for and may they find peace. Thank you.